The following is a build that is completely theoretical that only looks at card interactions and how it counters certain aspects of your local. This deck has not been playtested and should only be viewed as a starting point before making adjustments to your personal style and meta. In today's Theoretical Thursday build, I'm going to go over a deck that won't be available for a few weeks. Officially anyway. It's time to theorycraft Red Hybrid for the upcoming BT7 Next Adventure format. For this, I've looked at cards for the upcoming set and crafted what I will probably start my Red Hybrid deck with. As always, I'll go over the card by card, the strengths, and the weaknesses. Because I haven't really had time to playtest this deck, I'll forgo the combo sections for this video. This deck runs 5 level 2s, 16 level 3s, 12 level 4s, 6 level 5s, 7 level 6s, 3 option cards, and 6 tamers. For level 2s, this deck runs 1 BT6 Demi-Meramon and 4 BT7 Capuremon. Demi-Meramon is your generic DP booster that gives you plus 1000 DP when swinging into the security. Capuremon, on the other hand, is a new egg that allows you to gain plus 1000 DP if you have a tamer on the field. While this deck isn't like Agumon Bond of Bravery, this deck runs 6 tamers, of which can be searched off many of your rookies. Because of this, you'll likely have plus 1000 DP set up for the remainder of the game in 1 to 2 turns. For substitutes, there aren't any I would recommend, especially since you'll need to be level 6 to formally utilize BT5 Coremon's draw ability if your Digimon is Greymon. Bebidomon is a consideration, though considering my hybrids can only get piercing from one Digimon that can do that, I don't want to gamble for just that Digimon. For level 3s, this deck runs 2 BT4 Flamemon, 4 BT6 Flamemon, 4 BT7 Flamemon, 3 Nemon, and 3 Bokomon. BT4 Flamemon was the first hybrid searcher ever introduced, and while it can pick up tamers and hybrids, it does bottom deck one of our primary security smashers, Ancient Greymon, because it's not classified as a hybrid. BT6 Flamemon is the one and only Digimon that gives your hybrid or Digimon with 10 warriors in its type piercing. In conjunction with any of your level 6s, this can be a huge piercer. BT7 Flamemon is the new and improved Flamemon from BT4. On play, you'll get a search off the top 4 cards instead of 3, but instead of adding 2 cards, you'll only add 1 hybrid, 1 Suzanomon, or 1 Takuya to your hand. Best thing is though, if the Digimon above it is deleted, you get to play Takuya for free. The last 2 rookies that I use for the rookie lineup are Nemon and Bokomon. Nemon is an on-play Digimon that lets you play a tamer card with an inherited effect without paying its memory cost. Additionally, all turns, once per turn if a Digimon with a tamer card as its evolution source is deleted, you can play that tamer from the trash without paying its memory cost. This is one way to effectively recycle your Takuya Kimbaras and Marcus Damon if you really need to. Bokomon lets you reveal the top 5 and add any hybrid, 10 warriors, and 1 tamer to your hand. In addition, when your Digimon digivolves into hybrid, you gain 2 memory. There's a lot of searchability in this deck that lets you add cards off the top. Because of this, you can efficiently and effectively find your missing pieces to climb to level 6 if needed. For level 4s, this deck runs 12 in the form of 3 BT4 Agunimon, 3 Monochromon, 2 BT7 Burning Greymon, and 4 P029 Agunimon. BT4 Agunimon is your primary finisher for this deck. It allows for you to just evo to a tamer and swing for game. With Bokomon out, you can evo into this if your memory is at 0, assuming your opponent doesn't have any memory blockers. As for Monochromon, with Next Adventure, blockers will be imperative for that cheeky final attacker in the form of a hybrid, although Cordramon could be a substitute in this deck. With BT7 Burning Greymon, I prefer this over the other Burning Greymon for the fact that I can delete smaller Digimon, and in the BT7 meta, it may be important to hit your opponent's Bokomon and Nemon as well. Finally, 4 P029 Agunimon for warp digivolving into Ancient Greymon. Delete that Digimon if you use that warping effect, and then you can trigger Ancient Greymon's effect. For ratios, I'm not sure what needs more of or less of, although I do argue that in a rookie rush setting, you'll definitely want to see more Burning Greymon from BT7 to hit those potential small bodies. That being said, the option cards kind of take care of this part. For level 5s, this deck runs 6 in the form of 2 BT4 Aldamon and 4 BT7 Aldamon. BT4 Aldamon's more of a generic placeholder who can add more security checks on his own. In addition, if there's hybrids in his devolution sources, he gets a security check +1. But the real MVP level 5 of this build is BT7 Aldemon, who gives you an inheritable that makes your Digimon into, in essence, a BT1 WarGreymon, negating option cards when checking the security. In conjunction with BT6 Flamemon, you can pierce, negate option cards, and just hope you have enough buffs to clear the DP of the security Digimon. However, Chikurimon is still a threat. For level 6s, this deck runs 3 Ancient Greymon and 4 EmperorGreymon. Ancient Greymon is your more aggressive attacker who lets you get an additional security check for each hybrid underneath. At minimum, you're getting 2 additional checks. And on deletion, slap down a level 4 or lower red hybrid. As for EmperorGreymon, this is the mandatory 4 of, blitzing into your opponent's security even if the memory passes to their turn when you Digivolve into it. Even better, if this Digimon is blocked, you get memory back. So if it's lethal, that's the best time to blitz in for the memory recovery and extra shenanigans. Personally, at first glance, I don't think Suzanomon is a good fit for this type of deck. Considering with the ban of Mega Digimon fusion, 7 memory expense is a lot. Additionally, Blitz Omnimon was another consideration, but there's not a lot of good ways to search for it, and it ultimately becomes a if you draw it, you win more type of deal. As for option cards, this deck runs 3 in the form of 1 Fire Drake Strike and 2 Atomic Blaster. Fire Drake Strike allows you to delete a Digimon on your opponent's board of equal to or less DP than 1 on your battlefield. It's nifty around the Rookie Rush matchups. But in the security, it only lets you play Takuya Kenbara. With Atomic Blaster, I feel this card becomes a staple in red. If your opponent goes wide, nuke him. Additionally, if they have a level 5 on board that upsets you, get rid of it if it has 8000 DP or less. While Gaia Force and other red option cards like a Delicate Plan and Lightning Joust are not in this build, I prioritized a little defense over the extra aggression. Keep in mind with BT7 shaping up a slower paced game and being considerate of your opponent's Tamers and 2 memory, or 0 in the case of Bokomon, typical red option cards won't be able to touch hybrids until they're ready to come out. Finally, 6 Tamers in the form of 2 Marcus Daemon and 4 Takuya Kenbara. Marcus Daemon is just to give you some stable memory to 3. Otherwise, it can net you an additional +1 memory if you attack with Ancient Greymon and EmperorGreymon. Takuya Kenbara allows you to warp Digivolve into EmperorGreymon for its memory cost and place 5 hybrids from either your hand and or trash as its evolution sources. And lastly, you get +2000 DP as an inheritable. In addition, if the inherited Digimon becomes 10,000 DP or more, security check +1. Presently, I'd love to figure out how to make room for Analog Youth, but I'm prioritizing red Tamers to optimize the build. In general, red hybrid has a lot of strengths of aggressively swinging into the security. Because EmperorGreymon can nab hybrids from the trash or hand, this effectively makes red a flexible option for just smashing into security, regardless of getting deleted or not. Additionally, with so many searchers, drawing into what you need is not a problem. For weaknesses, I could see the primary weakness of this deck being blocker heavy decks, but because you have inheritable piercing, this nullifies this point slightly. Against the security control matchups, Aldemon is another excellent counter to this matchup, considering you negate all option cards. I honestly can't wait to get my hands on BT7 Next Adventure to build this deck. But what are your thoughts on red hybrid in general? Let me know in the comments below. This is DIGI-PANDA, logging out.